Finally, on today's song analysis, we're gonna do one of the most requested songs, Aun no Beats. The Akitoya National Anthem. But really, a lot of people often use this song for their ship because it's a perfect tragic love song, especially if your ship has somewhat a story of separation, either by death or other means. As usual, let's start from the title, Aun no Beats. When Aun is mentioned, what immediately comes to mind is the Koma Inu, the guardian dogs that's usually placed in front of shrines. Usually, there's like two of them, and if you observe them carefully, one has like an open mouth that kind of says ah, and the other one has a closed mouth that kind of says Aun itself is a phonetic transcription of Sanskrit word ahun, which is one of the Buddhist mantra meaning the beginning and the end of all things, which also aligns with the fact that the first letter in Japanese alphabet are a and the last letter is So yeah, aun is often used to describe like a pair. Now, there's a common expression called aun no kokyu or aun's breathing. Kokyu means like breathe, like if you watch Demon Slayer, you probably know Mizu no kokyu. But aun no kokyu is like a set of phrase that cannot be translated word by word. It basically means like two people who act as if they're breathing together, basically harmonizing with each other to the point their breathing synced. So yeah, the title, I think they take it from aun no kokyu, but they changed the kokyu to beats. The beats here, I don't know if it means like beat as in music or beat as in heartbeat, but if it's like about heartbeat, then it's gonna be very beautiful because it's basically mean two people who act as if their heart is beating the same way together. Which, if you're from the Project Sekai fandom and you want to take it to the Akitoya side of the interpretation, Project Sekai itself is a rhythm game that means we tap on beats, and in order to stay alive, we have to tap the right beat in sync and clear a song. And I think like, I don't know, it's just me trying to connect the dots. It's kind of romantic. It's like they're staying alive for each other. Now the lyrics. From the lyrics, you can see that there are two different kinds of I pronoun that is used, which means there are two kinds of perspective, which is the one that says boku and the one that says watashi. A lot of people argue about the gender of the two people being depicted here because boku is a more masculine way to say I, but watashi is like gender neutral. I think everyone use watashi unless it's like atashi. Atashi is feminine, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there are two different kind of genders. It's just that one is masculine and one is less masculine, which is good because that way people can interpret the song the way they want. Since the song kind of talks about separation, I think when reading from the perspective of the watashi, it's more like they're the one who's being left behind, and when you read from the perspective of the boku, it seems like this person is the one who left. Ever since I listened to the song, I got like shivers because throughout the whole song, it seems like those two people, the boku and the watashi, are like answering each other. To the point, if you line up the first verse and chorus with the second verse and chorus, it almost seems like it's a conversation. Like the other one is saying "Donmai donmai daijoubu," and the other one is saying "Kokai kokai yoru no hate." One is saying like it's okay, and one is regretting things. The watashi says "Stay here so you won't disappear," and the boku says "I laughed because I want you to forgive me, so then I'll be able to stay here." One is saying "Atae ataerarete," one is saying "Atae atae sigite," which is an interesting wordplay because one is basically saying they are giving and receiving. Atae is giving, ataerarete is like being given, so they're receiving. While the other one, the one who regret things, is saying they're atae, giving, and atae sukite. So like they're giving and receiving too much, which kind of goes along the line because previously this boku kept saying that they regret things, and by receiving too much, I think that's probably one of it. The thing is, once we get into the bridge, my perspective of thinking that the boku is the one who left and the watashi is the one who is being left behind changed. Because I noticed something in the bridge. あなたに捧げた心臓. I assume this is a watashi because from the covers that I saw, the same person who sings the watashi part also sings this part. And what I noticed is that the word sasageta here is in past tense. I dedicated my heart up to you. Sasageta. It's not sasageru. It's not dedicate. It's dedicated, which means it's in the past. While in the next line, the boku sings with 本当は戻りたいんだ。今からでいいから. The boku says 戻りたい. 戻りたい means like they want to. So it's not yet happening. Like 食べたい. I want to eat. They're not yet eating, but they want to. They even like emphasize it by saying 今から from now on. This is just my personal theory, but I think the constant regret expressed by the boku throughout the song, it's not about this boku being the one leaving, but more like it's about them regretting for not doing things right while the watashi is still at their side, which then continued with ずっとこれからだったのに we were going to be together forever. The noni here is how Japanese people says like even though. So it's like this person is saying like even though we're supposed to be together, even though we plan to be together forever. But that's not the case now. Like there's still traces of this person not willing to let go. Even if they said things like this is a wonderful ending for both of us. I never need to look for the words. But in the very end of the sentence, they still say, but still, I wanted to hear them from you. Almost embracing each other, where one person is like on top, which is I think the source why people start theorizing that the other lover is dead. But yeah, in the end of the MV, there's like this two, and then there's another person in front of them looking back, then the two disappeared as if it's like in the past, and this person now can only look back to what they used to have. To me personally, I don't necessarily interpret one of them dying. It can just mean like separation, going on a different paths. And I love how the song itself, without reading the lyrics, when you hear it, you know that it's like a sad song, but it's also like such a loving song. Like this answering each other thing makes you feel like it's about two person who loves each other, needs each other, completes each other to the point their heartbeats are harmonizing, which makes it more heartbreaking because we know that it does not end well. So yeah, that's my interpretation. What do you think about the song? Do you have any ships that you signed with the song? Tell me in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.